Hi there, everybody. It's J.R. Burgess here. Welcome to another episode of Health Evaders, where we're teaching practitioners to innovate health in wealth in their lives. And I'm here with Dr. Accurso. Is not only a special guest, but I've been a part of his mastermind, his epic retreat in Hawaii. I've seen their success. Him and Dr. Isaac Jones have been partners. And I'm excited for him to come on here and help you learn how to build a virtual practice. It's something that many practitioners are stuck spending one-on-one time, and they don't know how to scale that to reach more impact, more income, and have freedom to where it's not just day-to-day in their practices. And we're here to discuss all the details of how you've rose through this new model of healthcare that we see exploding, and you're helping a lot of practitioners have a lot of success. So thank you, and tell our guests and our fans a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, JR. Man, that intro is an honor, and it's a privilege to be a part of what you've created in your business. You know, I've been able to speak from your stage and the amazing seminars that you hold. And, you know, like you and I always talk about, from jumping off bridges in Maui to speaking on stages here in the US, you know, it's all about the core and the passion of your calling. And that's exactly what you do. That's exactly what I do. And I know that's exactly why our paths have intertwined the way they have. And I think that that's the biggest thing that I want to talk about first and foremost is this is a calling for me. It's not a career for me. I was called to this when I was 8 years old. I was raised in a family of doctors, and it's a little bit different than what I was raised in. What I was raised in was the world of clinics. Build your brick and mortar, work in your community, and work that clinic. And that's a beautiful thing, by the way. All of my cousins, they practice in brick and mortar clinics. We have a lot of doctors now in our organization that practice in brick and mortar clinics. But the thing that I came to was, if I'm truly passionate about this message of health and healing, about getting to the cause, about helping people overcome and upgrade themselves, then I need to essentially bring this message to the world in a bigger platform. So I was convicted when I was in a brick and mortar clinic in Nashville, Tennessee. I was convicted that I needed to step out and begin teaching people across the world. And I never thought it would become what it is today, you know, where we have literally thousands of people coming into our schedules from Japan, Canada, Australia. We also have seminars throughout the world right now. One being in America called the Health Experts Alliance. That's going to be happening in January. But really what it all comes down to is every single doctor that I've ever coached or come in contact with has the same desires that I had, which is I want more freedom to spend time with my family. I want to make a bigger impact in the world, and I want to create more resources for myself. So I don't feel like I'm the center of my clinic and I can't leave, and I can only take 3 to 4 day vacations. And so that's where all this was birthed from. And so now, you know, I've been involved in a couple 7-figure launches. One we just did in Japan. This whole thing is, by the way, taking Japan by storm right now. There are physicians over there that are just blowing up in their practices because they're teaching online. They're bringing people in online. And what that allows you to do is allows you to bring that perfect person into your schedule, that person that you work with the best. They're not going to try out your services. They are coming in gung-ho and on fire for what you do. And that's essentially what we teach physicians here in the States now. We teach you how to scale a business online without working 60 and 70 hours a week, because that's essentially where I was. I was working 60, 70 hours a week. I just wasn't happy with how things were. I was like, you know, there's got to be more here than being chained to a practice. And that's how I felt. Even though I loved my patients, I didn't feel like I had the choice to be able to step back and be creative and really start imagining possibilities, because I was just stuck in kind of the daily grind of the practice. And so now, you know, we're bringing the most cutting edge strategies to building a virtual practice online. You know, we have Fortune 500 companies that are coming to us now that are wanting to essentially, or that have used us to build their brand, and now they're operating within this realm of, supplements and services, and really building a lasting brand online to where things are becoming more residual.
I love it. And I think everybody should really kind of replay back to your first words, as it started with a passion, a calling, which many of the doctors and professionals that we work with came into this business to change people's lives, help them get out of pain, transform their bodies. And in today's medical world, it's hard to do that anymore. You spend more time in your electronic health records than you do counseling patients. You basically deal with bureaucracy, insurance, all those things that slow down what great patient care is, that allows you to get to the root cause of this. But you said is a purpose in life is to truly find your meaning and then give it away. You guys could have really had a scarcity mindset and said, we found out the formula how to attract high paying cash payments that are ready for your services, not trialing it, not ready, the absolute best clients that are ready to take action on your plans. You've done that, and you're ready to share it with other practitioners. That's why you created your health model. You're doing other seminars because there is an abundance mindset that you've learned to have and carry. And the same thing with our brick and mortar. We figured out the brick and mortar model. We don't just want to keep it local to St. Cloud. It was like we knew we had a massive vision. If we figured it out how to attract cash paying patients, to integrate them, we got to help those other brick and mortar clinics. But we also, why we've come to your mastermind is we realize there's a hard cap on your income of one-on-one. That's why we absolutely said, we love our brick and mortar, we love our community, now let's expand. Let's start getting into this. And now we have this whole other branch taken off because of working with you, starting those foundations. Can you relate, are there any other similar practices like ours that maybe are in brick and mortar that are trying to do both, or ones that have just cut the ties? Give me two stories. One that just said, I'm going only virtual, and one that is running a hybrid maybe.
Yeah. I can think of one doc in particular. She spoke on our webinar last night. Her name's Dr. Elena, and she took $1 million brick and mortar practice virtual in 1 month. Now, that's a crazy situation, but here's the thing. I believe that she's setting the tone for other doctors to do the same thing. I'm going to give you her two top, strategies, you could call them, that she used. She used attraction. So she engaged people on Facebook to connect with her one-on-one consulting. Now, some people will say, well, you know how long that would take to develop a solid income if you just connected one-on-one through Facebook? Not if you're operating within high ticket items. That's exactly what we teach.
20K packages.
That's right. I never thought, JR, that I could be doing what I'm doing today because it was impossible in my mind. You and I know when you're a part of a mastermind, it opens up your horizons to what you're able to do. If someone would have told me, hey, you're going to be able to work within 20 and 30K programs online, I would have said, no way. Because in my soul, it felt impossible. So it felt uncomfortable. But I want to tell you, when you put yourself around people that are doing it, and by the way, doing it well, when you're operating within packages like this, we're teaching you how to deliver something that is that value and even more. And I believe there's much more to come in this realm, by the way. I mean, there's a doctor in Italy right now that's doing 100K programs. Now, my mind can't comprehend that. I'm thinking, that's impossible, right? But I've never hung around that doctor before. So, what he's doing is no longer impossible. Another thing that she did was she operated within commitment, getting people into high ticket programs for those calls. And that's essentially what we teach at our upcoming seminar, Health Experts Alliance, is we teach you the scripting that it actually takes to take someone cold and get them into a position where they're like, hey, this is worth my time. This is worth my efforts in order to become part of a program like this. So she talked about that on the webinar. I would say my key takeaway from everything that she said was choose one simple step that you are going to absolutely dominate. So the one simple step she chose was she chose an exceptional funnel. She literally poured all her efforts into this one funnel that made people jump through enough hoops to where she finally perfected that person. She's like, that's the one person I want to see.
got her ideal client to where, just like you
Exactly.
said in your opening, some that's willing to pay, they stay, they implement, they refer, and they tell their friends about it.
That's right. Exactly. And you asked for one more example, JR. And the other example was he was a cardiologist that came into our program. And his thing is how am I going to take what I do? Literally, I've been in the surgery room for 15 years and apply it to virtual. And oftentimes that's a lot of the distractions that we have is we say, how do we take what I'm doing and create something virtual with it? And I'll tell you, he did two things right off the bat. So he operated within that attraction model, which was his whole thing Dr. Elena's thing was she captured consults on Facebook. What he did was he wrote content blogs based off of questions patients had for him. And he created thousands of basically people that were coming into this blog in order to find out what he was doing with his programs he was creating. He created a heart supplement program. He created a stress variability program. And people were coming in reading his articles. And the other thing he did was he created a 7-figure residual stream of income with the supplements that he was selling inside of his programs. So he wasn't doing the one-on-one consulting. He essentially just created these programs that would help people. And they were almost DIY, do-it-yourself programs. And most of his income now is coming through from the supplements. And then he does have a concierge service, but again, it's a high ticket service. He sees about 15 people a year. They're about 20K programs. And again, we teach you how to create these things. It's not impossible. You just need to have the ability to focus and know who you're going after. And if you can do that, sky's the limit.
Yeah. You've said some really, really important things about doing what you love and following your passion, finding the right avatar, and then creating the right offer at the right ticket priced item. So I always try to reflect back to our audiences, because you're talking very important movers that maybe people are just glazing over that are getting into the business, the marketing world. But these are things not to just glance over, but to learn your structure, your format, your delivery of making that happen. And now I'm not only those two clients, as I go to a lot of events, and just at Yuri's event in September, people are followed your and Dr. Jones's program. That surgeon, I met him at a different program. Melissa Peterson, people that have been on our other interviews. You've helped people not just take, great, you're a functional medicine practitioner, how do you deliver that? You're customizing people in different niches, different industry, creating that offer, creating the funnel, the marketing delivery. And this is the important part, and not a cookie cutter way, but in a level that plays to each person's strengths or their delivery. But ultimately, what most entrepreneurs fail off, chasing objects everywhere, ultimate focus on the one thing that's really we got to get deep and dialed in a massive way.
That's right. That's right. I would say, it's so important when we speak about the focus and the passion and all these things. I think oftentimes we complicate things, right? You and I both know, JR, as business owners, you want to be able to do everything, because the only person on earth that can do everything properly is yourself. When you know that when you focus, when you're able to focus on that one thing, you're actually able to put your attention into other things as well. You're able to actually train your team properly. You're able to scale online properly. So I would say, another thing that really kind of propelled a lot of these physicians into their 6- and 7-figure online practices is dedicating at least 1 hour a week. I would say at least 1 hour a week to virtual growth, whatever that looks like for you. Again, that one doctor focused on funnels, the other doctor focused on blogs.
Content.
You brought up a couple rock star names in what you just said, and those doctors, they each focused on that one thing. And when you focus on that one thing, it snowballs online. As you know, JR, virtual is an investment. When you invest in that blog, invest in that YouTube video, invest in that funnel, it's going to continue to grow while you sleep. Everything that you put online is going to continue to grow while you're asleep. You're going to get more hits. You're going to get more traction and traffic in your stuff. And that's where I think a lot of docs need to simplify and just say, hey, I'm going to focus on this one thing. Everybody, I don't know if maybe everybody out there hasn't heard of this book, but The One Thing by Gary Keller. There's a lot to be said about that book. A lot of people think, well, it's oversimplified. It's actually very accurate. When you focus on that one thing, you begin to get much more done than you ever thought possible.
Correct. So if you are spinning your wheels, if you haven't had the traction, you're not making the online success, then you do have to dial into that one thing. And the fact of the matter, just like you said, at some point in time, you can't do everything. So building a team, outsourcing, those are all the next level steps. But we do have to focus on the one thing. Otherwise, it's just never going to really give you the traction that you need. And all these strategies, they do take time and effort. There's no such thing as get rich quick, change your life today. It takes a little bit of work. But the thing that you said is the cost of not figuring out is too high. So if you want focus and you want to make money virtually, don't go try to figure it out. You're going to spend thousands of hours wasting your time. You're going to be doing a little bit of everything because that one thing doesn't get traction enough. So if this is something that is of interest to you, of going virtual or making your impact far beyond your community, then get to this conference in January, and I'll ask you to wrap up with that after I ask you a couple more questions that I really want our listeners to know about you.
Yeah.
Is I think that is so important, is don't try to spend time when you're not an expert. You've helped so many professionals out there. The cost of this one event is a drop in the hat compared to the spinning your wheels and the amount of failure or success or trying to outsource an incomplete model will have on your confidence, on your bottom line. It's just not worth it. And that's something you and I have both always done, invested in mastermind coaching and paying for people that have already figured it out. And guys, from online, there's nobody that's got it more figured out than these two amazing, heart-centered, faith-based, passionate, dedicated guys to their niche. So don't mess around here if you're trying to go online. Go to the source. But couple quick questions that I ask everybody that comes on our show is, we all have had our dark times. We have all had our starting moments. We've all had our mistakes. We've all had our wins. Tell me about before you got to your first level of success, where you're at one now. What did you have to overcome in yourself, not your team? What was holding you back? What was your limiting factor then? And for you, Doc, you're already in Japan. You're worldwide. You've been the platform for so many successful online practitioners. What is that next level that you or somebody on your team need to do to get to even far greater impact?
Wow. I love that question, by the way. And I'm going to take you to my darkest time that I've ever been in, literally my darkest time. And I can still see it in my head. I was sitting on the couch with my wife, and it was the end of my day. My little girl, Allie, we only had one at the time, and because we have 3 little girls now and a 4th on the way. We don't know what it is yet, though. But we were sitting on the couch. It was late at night, and she was done. Like, I could tell, like, she was done with my schedule. She was spent. And I remember her looking at me saying, is this going to be the rest of our life? And that moment, it broke my heart in a way, because I'm thinking, this is what I was made to do. Like, if I can't do this, I can't do anything. I'm going to be a failure if I can't do this. And in that moment, I had 2 choices. I could either turn away from my family and say, sorry, this is all I can give. Or I could take a deep dive into some wounds that I had, like John Eldridge talks about in Wild at Heart. Take some deep dives into those wounds and truly ask, what am I doing this for? Like, am I doing this just to live up to the Joneses and make the money and get the car? Or am I truly doing this because this is my inner calling and core? And that's when I started to take a deep dive into myself. And I started to ask, what am I creating for my children? What am I creating for my children's children? And what are the stories that my children are going to tell about me at the end of my life? And that made me focus and say, okay, these aren't good answers.
And that gave me great tingles, because I just went through that the last 6 months, Doc, as I had finally got to a place where we're in 72 locations around the world. We're in China. We have the largest brick and mortar integrated practice hybrid in the United States. It's definition of success was there, but I wasn't home with my family the same way. I wasn't present. I became a workaholic, even though I love what I do. It's just my wife had the same questions, and thankful for injury, a Lyme's disease, and God stepped in and showed me you can have it all when you're ready to let go of control. You came in this place to have impact. You came to do these, but you've lost your joy chasing a monetary or when this happens. And the minute that I've let go of control and just left it up to faith to show up, do my best, and why and what my purpose is not just being a great at business, but to be that amazing father and husband. My life has improved the last 6 months tenfold, and it's because I gave up control and I just focused on, I'm going to show up in my purpose each day.
And I was going to say, you're a testimony to me, brother, because I remember when I came to visit you and just seeing something I always pay attention to from any leader I'm around is their wife happy? Is their wife fulfilled? And the sad part is, being it's election season, and we look at leaders from the outside and say, oh, they have this or that. What about the wife? Is she happy? Is she fulfilled? And I can tell you, your wife was one of the happiest, most beaming women I had ever seen. And I'm like, this guy's doing it right. And I would say at the end of the day, man, it's like, what are the stories that your family is going to tell about you?
Yeah.
And
I was doing it right. I was like giving them externally world things that they wanted, but I wasn't fully present. And I'm working 100 hours and doing. And that's part of the control. If I'd get frustrated, I'd be doing instead of I need to delegate, because that's the health expert plague. You can't replicate yourself. You can work yourself to death if you want it, but if you truly want to show up and you want a 40-hour work week, you want balance and you want to travel, then your impact has to go to others. It can't be about doing it all and being at another summit or ripping out another email. And that's where, again, I put boundaries in work hours so I could invest in my family. Not that I didn't provide or that we weren't happy, but really develop my children. Sit down, like I came back in November, my daughter and I started reading School of Greatness together. I'd always be there. I wasn't teaching her. I wasn't being the father that I was being to some of my coworkers. And if I'm going to be great, that point that you said is, what are my kids going to say about me? And I unfortunately said, my dad provided for me, but he was never there. And that was that moment that said, no, that's not going to be my legacy. And so thank you for being raw and sharing the truth of that. And it's been big for me. But at next level, we're always, again, we can be happy at our current level, but we're being selfish if we don't, again, learn how to spread these amazing gifts that we've been given to more people. So tell me how you're going to spread your wonderful gifts to more people. What are you going to have to overcome next?
That's right. That's right, man. Yeah. So I think the next hurdle that we're running into is, building the right team. I believe it was Jim Collins in Good to Great that said the right vision with the wrong people is deleterious or is monotonous or doesn't matter. And I would say that's where we're at with this is, now we're expanding very quickly. And oftentimes, if you can't surround that vision with the right people, and what I mean by that is the right people, this is how you know you have the right people. What I've found in the 9 years I've been doing virtual, if those people don't even really understand where you're going, they're just happy to be together. They're like, hey, I want to ride this thing with you because it's awesome to be together. Those are the right people. Okay. Sometimes we like obscure things and gray out things and say quotes like that without actually expounding on what they mean. And that's what I mean is that now we are building this team, this mission, and we want the right people on board that are going to help this thing grow and take this thing into the next level. I mean, we have a vision of impacting 2 billion people by 2040. It's a really big vision. And so we have to put the right people in the driver's seats. And we're blessed. I will say I'm blessed to have, our director, Natalie, our funnel girl, Elena. She's way more than a funnel girl. She'd probably knock me out if I called her a funnel girl, but she's literally the director of all that marketing stuff, right? And just continuing to put the right people around us in order to develop that vision.
I would agree that's probably the most important thing for scaling and growing. The right team, the bigger the dream, the more important the right team. Right. Can I ask you a little bit more deeper, though? What does that mean to you? So does that mean you have to be a better communicator?
Internally,
you have to hold better accountability? Because I agree with that cliche.
Oh, yeah.
What does Dr. Accurso need to do to grow a better team?
Mm-hmm. I have to let go of the results. I have to let go of the ambitions that I have. And what that means for me is being more of a selfless leader, being more of a sacrificial leader, learning to eat last. And I think that that's the key right there is, I truly believe that teaching others how to do it better is going to bless you. It's going to bless your team. It's going to bless your family. Being able to bring others up. And by that, I mean, it's all different types of things, but that's an internal game for me because, I tend to think, okay, that's going to take time and that's going to take time away from my agenda. But when in actuality, that's actually going to serve the big agenda, or the big mission, right? It's up here. So operating in that heavenly realm for me is so key, knowing that honestly, the day-to-day stuff, as important as it is, it's never as important as people. It's never as important as building people up.
That's what I'm going through right now too at work. There has again been the driven type A entrepreneur that gets stuff done, that is on a mission to make things happen, letting go of that control and showing up and being your best leader, your calm, your wisdom, your developing. Hardest thing in the world to do, but it's next level stuff. And I really appreciate you being willing to share that. Not everybody would.
Absolutely, brother.
But it matters.
It does.
I want people to hear that stuff from people just like you and Dr. Jones that there is no other level for online health care. It's like these are the people that are helping the most millionaire 7-figure virtual practice people right here. And that's just simple truth that I have to let each person that I coach with know that we're our own bottleneck. Unless they can hear other leaders just like you be willing to be vulnerable like that, we get trapped in our own ego. And it's not going to serve your long vision. It's not. Right. You may think it does. Ego doesn't serve anything. Confidence, that's a whole different ballgame, but ego doesn't serve. So
that's right, man.
Thank you so much for that. And I appreciate that. So tell our guests how they can get to you in January. What maybe if there's a Cyber Monday special, but how do they get there in the dates and the times? What's the next steps?
Absolutely. So the event is going to be end of January. So specifically the 25th, 26th, and 27th. And it's going to be in Atlanta, Georgia. So if you want details, how to get into this thing, what we want to do is you're in the tribe of JR. So you're going to have a special link that you're going to get. I would say, JR, maybe have them email. Is it okay for them to email you or email Jenny, or have a special email that they can email, say, I want more details? Is that possible? Is that how you're working it?
Yeah, that or a link, whatever drives them there, either one of those things. So
okay. So you'll have
in this email, we'll supply a link or a direct email, whatever is easier for you.
Awesome. Yeah. So you'll have a special link under JR, and you'll click on that link, and basically you'll get the entire agenda for what's going to go down. The speakers that are going to be there, I'm telling you, some of these speakers are going to blow your mind. We have Evan Tardy, the CEO of drax.com and Ancient Nutrition. He's going to be laying all the secret sauce out of how they actually built the 7-figure business that they have. I mean, they're literally one of the largest health companies in the world now. And he's going to be there talking about what they did. We're going to have virtual experts running 6- and 7-figure practices there, laying out the secret sauce for everybody. And I'm telling you, we lay it bare at our seminars. Some people are like, if you do that, then you're not going to have people that join your programs. you know what? It all comes back to us, because what that does is it allows you to tell other people what we're doing, and those people come in, and it's a trade, so we're all about it. This is the big mission. This is the big vision. We want more doctors to be free, because if you're free, then you're equipped. And if you're equipped, you're confident. And if you're confident, you can give your best foot forward, your best self to your family and your business. And so those are the dates. We will get a link out to everybody through JR, and then you can click on that link. There's going to be a discount associated with that link, by the way. So if you want to go and check it out and just see what the event is about, you can go to www.healthexpertsalliance.com/HEA1. And then also, you can also get the link from JR and sign up through him. You will get a discount through that link. So I would recommend using that specific link to go to the seminar.
And you said an important part that I want everybody to know. I try to recommend, especially your event. I know you guys always operate a giving hand. Same thing at ours is we want people to come and get their money's worth, transform more lives in their community. We don't hold back. We give away our formula. I know you guys do too, but there's always a next level, which is the mastermind, which people need for community, accountability, support, and coaching. Those 4 elements, if you don't have those, or you don't have them in areas of your life, whether it's your marriage, your finances, your business, you are going to fall short of what the pros do. So if you're aiming for mediocrity, then don't get coaching. If you just want to go to events, that's mediocrity. You learn, you implement, you save time. You want to be at the best, you gotta surround yourself with the thinkers and the best. You need to hold yourself account. You can't hold yourself accountable. You need others to hold you accountable, prevent the mistakes. So, either way, you're going to get benefit. I'd say go and sign up for everything, because that's how you're going to get it done faster. But even going there, I absolutely know you guys are going to shortcut people's impact in their success in a big way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't say enough of what you just said. I mean, just model. If you see someone that is doing it the way you want to do it, model them, go where they go, do what they do. And, masterminds are where it's at. I would highly recommend, if you have not done a mastermind, go. JR, you were my conviction, to be a part of more organizations and be a part of more think tanks, because you're just such a master at doing that. So I would say to everybody out there, get involved, get your feet wet, and really see what it's about. Thanks, Guy.
And Dr. Accurso, this was great. Thank you for being so raw, so helpful. And, as I said, if you're new to this stuff, you may have missed some of those golden nuggets and pearls that are truly foundational elements for key success. But when you have 8 hours instead of 30 minutes, 3 days in a row to dive deep and get all these concepts, then you've got to give yourself that opportunity. And here's one of the best in the industry that is going to open their hearts and their systems to you in January 25th through the 27th in Georgia there. So get there. Thanks, Doc. You and Dr. Jones are heroes of mine. Keep having huge health impact around the world.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate your time. Thanks for having me on.